Okay, now we want to talk about the damage that different kinds of mass wasting can produce, and then what can we do about it. So we said that there were three main categories of mass wasting: things that were falling, things that were sliding, things that were flowing. We mentioned that rock falls can be very dangerous because they can cover up roads. They could fall on you. We said that sliding things can be also very, not so dangerous, but they can be destructive. So that's where things can slide as a unit downslope. So an example of that was slumping. Then you also had stuff that could be flowing downhill, such as a debris flow or a rock flow. And if that was to hit your house or something, it could knock it off of its foundation. A slow example of a flowing event would be soil creep. And soil creep can also be very damaging because it could knock your house very slowly off of its foundation. So what would be some things that you could look for that would be telling you that the mass wasting is occurring? Well, obviously, if you got this big pile of rocks in front of you on a road and they came from this cliff up here, then you know that for sure. But one that's really hard to see is creep. So how do you know that things are either slumping or creeping? So this picture here shows you that soil creep and slump can cause trees to be bent out of shape. It can cause foundations to be moved out from underneath buildings. It can cause power lines to be misshapen. It can cause some of the ground to give way and to cover up a road. So all of those are examples of how to identify areas of mass wasting. So what can we do about it? So if we want to stop mass wasting, one thing is to plant trees and other vegetation. So they're going to have roots, and then those roots are going to help to hold material in place so it doesn't move. Okay, another thing that we can do is we can terrace. So that's going to remove some of that slope. The higher the slope, the more likely mass wasting is going to be. So instead of we remove certain sections of that slope, making it less likely that a landslide is going to occur. Another thing that we can do is lower the water table. So we said that soil that is saturated in water, the water acts as a lubricant, which makes mass wasting more likely. So if we were to reduce the amount of water in the soil, then that makes it more clingy and less likely to have mass wasting. Also, relocating the position of a river. So if a river is too close to a cliff, it will erode the cliff. It will make it more likely that erosion and mass wasting is going to occur. Okay, another thing that we can do is to add materials that would absorb the force of wave action. So instead of wave action hitting a cliff and causing the cliff to collapse, we put materials in front of the cliff that will absorb the force of those impacts. Okay, we can put up walls to protect us from debris that otherwise would roll onto the highway. We can use pins to hold the rocks in place so the rocks are less likely to move. We can build a covering over the highway so that if an avalanche does occur, it will go over the top of the highway instead of actually getting onto the highway. And there you have it. So there is your full review for the Unit 3 Lecture Geology exam. So good luck on it, and I will see you in class.